Just the other day, someone brought my attention to a little game recently kickstarted called Temtem. The game is currently under development by a team called Crema, whose only real claim to fame so far is a game on Steam called Immortal Redneck. Just from the screenshots and videos, it seems very much like an homage to Serious Sam, and the game is currently rated very positive on Steam. So right out the gate, this company at least has something to show in terms of their work outside of their current Kickstarter, which is unusual for a lot of games that pop up on that platform. There's a reason it's sometimes referred to as Kickscammer. So what is Temtem? The developers are calling it a massively multiplayer creature collection adventure, and they're putting a lot of emphasis on the online world they're working hard to create. I've said for at least a decade or more that a Pokemon MMO, and no, Pokemon Go doesn't count, would let Nintendo create their own min so they could print money, so having someone go out of their way to create a Pokemon-like MMORPG, it's practically a dream come true. Pokemon has dabbled a tiny bit with this sort of thing, but Dream World was the poor man's Pokewalker, and the actual interactivity was null and void. What really sticks out to me is the fact that Temtem seems to focus on some of those one-off things that have appeared in Pokemon games and never really been touched again. Do you love watching your Pokemon follow behind you? Temtem has that. Did you like playing cooperatively with friends over Intralink in Pokemon Black and White? Temtem seems to want to let you play the entire game alongside friends if you want. How cool was creating your own place to live in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire? Wouldn't you like to do that again? Have your own place to decorate? Temtem's got the keys to your brand new house. The developers also seem to want to be friendly to competitive players, removing things like RNG and making combat 100% skill and strategy based. The strategy part I get, but where does the skill come in? I wasn't aware clicking buttons on your mouse was considered a skill. If so, I must be at a Grandmaster level. Still, having developers who consider the competitive scene as part of their game and not just an easily marketed afterthought is a pleasant change of pace for this sort of genre. So yeah, Crema are offering a lot of promises on features that Pokemon fans have been wanting back in games for decades, and they seem to be following through on them. But beef, you cry. Why are you shilling for a game you've never tried before? Because I've felt for a very long time that Nintendo and Game Freak need a fire lit under their ass, and desperately. To me, the series has been stagnant for a long time, and with each new game that comes and goes, we're often completely missing key and fan-favorite features. Instead, we're given just enough new things to make us temporarily forget that each game is missing substantial, meaningful endgame content, the ability to make our Pokemon follow us around, cooperative multiplayer, and... well, if I listed everything missing from the series today, this video would be a full hour. Plus, Nintendo as a company has always been against the idea of a Pokemon MMO because of their family-friendly brand.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
That's totally okay, I get why they choose not to make one, but it doesn't mean I have to be happy about it, especially when the closest thing we have to a Pokemon MMO is Pokemon Go. Because apparently Nintendo is terrified that pedophiles might talk to kids in a Pokemon MMO, but are totally cool with people being shot and killed playing Pokemon Go. I mean, no one's ever died playing an MMO, right? Oh. Well then. The unmitigated gall of Game Freak has finally started to grate on me as a loyalist, and I'm getting tired of it, so at this point I'm willing to move in any direction that puts pressure on Nintendo and Pokemon as a series. Sure, back in its earliest days, Pokemon had pressure on them from both sides in the form of Digimon and Monster Rancher, but Monster Rancher slowly faded into obscurity with their last game as far back as 2008. And Digimon has spent most of its existence in the shadow of Pokemon, struggling to create its own identity, and Bandai is still at it. To be fair to Bandai, Digimon has made some improvements lately, but it wasn't until they gave up and created games like Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory that had a notably Pokemon slant to them did they finally start to see some real success. You can also argue that the Dragon Quest Monsters series fits in here, but in the tradition of the Dragon Quest series compared to games like Final Fantasy, they don't fight the flow or try to pretend they're different from Pokemon in anything besides the monsters. They just do their own thing and see marginal success. The point is, though, that Game Freak and Nintendo hasn't had any real kind of pressure placed on them for a long time, and it's made them way too complacent, at least in my opinion. Will Temtem be the game that finally uproots Pokemon? Probably not. Many games have tried and all have ultimately failed or been forced to assimilate Pokemon's ideas in order to persist, but if Temtem gets Nintendo shareholders to sit up and take notice and encourage Nintendo to actually put a real budget and a team behind a Pokemon game we've been asking for, the developers might finally consider the series more than just an annual cash cow taking advantage of loyalists in the vein of series like Call of Duty and Madden. Thanks for checking the video, trainers. If you want more Chunky Beef, be sure to subscribe before you click away. Or join us on social media where you'll see each new video posted pretty much as soon as it's uploaded. Oh, and in case you're curious, I haven't been paid or given anything from the developers to bring attention to their project. I mean, come on, you see that sub count? I'd be lucky to get an automated response through email. But I wouldn't mind a little charity. Call me. Anyway, see you next video.